Yeah.
But again though, like her role a lot of the time really is just like the social part of it. You know what I mean? So walk us through kind of like that first interaction of like what your impression was of her, how you felt about it, and kind of once she kind of started talking, like how you just felt about, I guess, like the project itself and like the brand and everything like that. Smiles already.
Yeah. When I first met T, she was like my girlfriend instantly. You know, her voice sounds almost exactly like a very close girlfriend of mine. The cadence, everything. And I was like, damn, she sounds like one of my closest girlfriends. You know.
Yeah.
And then when you introduced us, and she shook my hand, I was like, nah, we hug over here. And she's like, okay, you know what I mean? And it was instant, like, you know, good energies when you walk into a room. And I immediately got that feeling when I met T. So I knew it was going to be a dope shoot. I knew that my personality, I didn't have to filter my personality because y'all know I'm Florn filth, right? So, and a lot of times being on a Not Jax Productions set or shoot, I have to put my own brand aside because not everybody is with, you know, the shits, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that T is, but her personality and warmth and good energy made me feel comfortable working with her. So I knew that we would get the best product for her. And the company too, the company that she had in the room, Sato, dope, man. Sato, super dope. And they just was just a very warm and comfortable and family reunion type of feeling in the room, like when we came in. So I was like, all right, let me go to her website and see what she got on there. Let me see what I'm gonna buy real quick, you know. But it was a good feeling. It was a good time. I felt comfortable. Nice. I kept walking around the room. That's something that once we actually get into a space where we are shooting, I walk around the room several times with the camera because I'm just looking for different shots, just looking to see how the person is moving, seeing where I can get great angles of them because women, we love our angles.
Yeah, we do.
We love our angles.
We do.
Yes. Yeah.
We love our angles, and I just wanted to make her look as I wanted her aesthetic to be as beautiful as the feeling she gave me when we came in the room. So that was important.
I got you.
Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome, of course.
How did you feel about that first like shoot, I guess if you want to call it, even though it was really more so like audio, but how did you feel about it? Because I'll tell you how I felt. I felt like you were very nervous. I felt like you were a little robotic. Which is why we'll get to the. I mean, I'm being honest, right?
I love it.
I'm being honest.
Go off.
I did like the fact that you were so prepared, like with the notebook and the iPad. But from a creative, from a filmmaker, no, you don't. Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm like, Jackson, did you tell them that they supposed to be prepared? He said yes. I did, and they came with nothing.
Exactly. So I like the preparation of it, but just in terms of like going back and like listening to it, it sounded like you was reading.
Yeah.
And that's just that part I just didn't like. So, but I figured you did that because you just didn't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I can appreciate that. But like, if you could put yourself back in that seat, like while we were doing that, like how did you feel? Because you did seem a little nervous. You was like, oh, I remember it specifically. You being like, oh shit, like y'all like for real, like y'all got like
real cameras.
like y'all got real cameras. And
I remember her saying, "Y'all, this is so professional." I remember her saying that, like, you guys are really professional.
You know what I mean? So like, what were your actual like feelings if you can remember?
So you're absolutely right. I was definitely nervous. I'm laughing because the way you critiqued me was so like Simon Cowell and it like you were definitely nervous. So yeah, I was nervous for sure. I was reading off of a document. I had outlined like my entire like brand story and I didn't want to miss anything. And I'm like, well, this is the time frame we we're working with them. So like this session, I don't want to like miss a thing. And that was like my first time like interacting with the both of y'all, and y'all made, you know, everything feel so comfortable. Y'all made that moment like so comfortable and just so significant. Like I really appreciated how like over time I could really get out of my shell. But in that moment where things really started to happen and I'm like going through my brand story, I'm like, wow, this is actually happening. Like we're really doing a documentary. And I just wasn't used to like recording, being on camera. Like I was never that type of creative like before. And so I felt like the more and more we worked, the more and more comfortable I got. The more and more I got out of my shell, which is also something amazing, I think, to take away from working with the team, from working with Not Jax Productions, because surprisingly, I feel like I'm pretty introverted. So in that moment, I was just extremely like nervous. But after a while, I felt like I started to like get my, like, you know what, I'm feeling this. I like this. The energy is great. I got this. I'm telling the story and people feel it. But definitely I was like nervous in that moment, and it was robotic, and I was glad that we could go back and just kind of just redo that over.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, listen, I'm not saying you did bad or terrible. I'm just saying it was like, you were like, oh shit, she AI. That's Chat GPT over here.
But I will also say that I professionally appreciate you taking the critique and not becoming angry with that critique and actually using it to better your product and to better your story so that we could tell it appropriately for your brand. So thank you for taking that constructive criticism.
Thank you.
Indeed. What was your process of like choosing the people that you wanted to sit down and have us interview? And also, what was the process of like choosing like the specific dates or events that you wanted me to kind of like, you know, show up at and shoot? For instance, like, you know, like the urban thing, the podcast, the was it all of the above pod. I think it was a couple other things. But like, how did you just go about choosing like, all right, I want them to shoot that, I want them to shoot this, and then I want to have these particular people like, you know, tell the story like on their behalf.
So it's interesting because I feel like I kind of went through that moment and that phase with you in a sense where like you were kind of extracting certain things like out of me. I like kind of had on my brain, okay, I want to shoot this here and I want these people. But as we talked through things, you kept pulling from me like, okay, what is the story that you're telling? Like, what is the question that you want answered? And so I had to figure out, okay, what is the story I'm telling? What is the question I want answered? Like, let me figure this thing on out. So like, I think this whole year, there were prominent moments happening for the brand, and I wanted to capture those moments, for one. For two, we went through that story outline like session, but then as we went through it, we talked through it, and we talked through different moments, and you pretty much helped me narrow down, okay, these are some key moments, these are some turning points, so I want to have these individuals involved. From what I remember, there were more people who were on this list, but then it was just narrowed down to a select few people. And it doesn't mean that outside of these folks that anyone else who has contributed to the brand aren't impactful or aren't meaningful at all. But there were just certain turning points and certain people who could really just tell the story like really well, and everything just kind of intertwined perfectly. I mean, even the way you put the film and the project together, you were capturing a lot of people saying the same things, and some of these people didn't even know each other,
Mm-hmm.
and they were saying literally the same things as the story was being told.
Yeah. Do you have I'm putting you on the spot. Did you have like a favorite interview with E? Like once you actually saw the final film, like did you have, like a favorite, not a favorite part, but like a favorite person? Thank you guys for listening to a short clip of episode 2 of Behind the Shoot. If you would like to check out the entire episode, please subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/createyourOwnShit. And I will also leave the link in the bio. So all you have to do is click on it and subscribe to the $5 tier. Thank you guys, and see you next time.